You know, I've heard this phrase thrown around in locker rooms, online forums, and even in my own clinic, grower versus shower. Maybe you've wondered where you fit, maybe you felt curious, confused, or even a little self-conscious about it. Well, I'm Dr. Nerea Wolf, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and if you ever have questions or concerns about your urological health, whether it's about anatomy, function, or just understanding your own body a little better, stay with us. We're here to help you navigate these topics with clarity, compassion, and science. Today, we're going to talk about what it really means to be a grower or a shower, why it happens, and whether it actually matters for your health or your confidence. And spoiler alert, you're absolutely fine, no matter which category you fall into. So let's start with the basics. What does grower versus shower even mean? In simple terms, a grower is someone whose penis increases noticeably in length when transitioning from a flaccid state to an erect one. There's a clear visible change, sometimes quite dramatic. A shower, on the other hand, is someone whose penis doesn't change as much in length between those two states. When flaccid, it may already appear closer to its erect size, so the difference isn't as pronounced. Now, this is something people notice. It's something people talk about. And honestly, it's something that can quietly affect how men feel about themselves, especially in moments of vulnerability, like in a locker room or during intimacy. But here's the truth. This variation is completely normal. It's not a reflection of your masculinity, your fertility, or your ability to satisfy a partner. It's just anatomy. And anatomy varies from person to person, just like height, eye color, or hand size. So why does this happen? What makes someone fall into one category or the other? Well, it comes down to two main factors: genetics and environment. Let's talk about genetics first. Your genetic makeup, passed down from your parents, plays a significant role in determining the elasticity and structure of your penile tissue. Some people are born with tissue that's naturally more elastic, which allows for greater expansion during an erection. Others have tissue that's a bit firmer or less flexible, resulting in less change between states. This isn't something you can control. It's written into your DNA, much like the color of your hair or the shape of your nose. And just like those traits, it doesn't define your worth or your capabilities. But genetics isn't the whole story. Your environment and lifestyle also play a role. For example, as we age, tissue elasticity naturally decreases. Younger men tend to have more flexible tissue, which is why they're statistically more likely to be growers. As the years go by, collagen production slows and the tissues become less pliable. This is a normal part of aging, not a cause for alarm. Your overall health also matters. Smoking, poor diet, lack of exercise, and being overweight can all affect tissue health and blood flow, which in turn can impact how much visible change occurs during an erection. And here's something interesting. Body weight can actually influence perception. If you're carrying extra weight around your midsection, part of the flaccid penis may be less visible. But when you have an erection, more of it becomes apparent. So some men may feel like they're more of a shower simply because of how their body composition affects visibility. Even temporary factors can play a role. Cold temperatures, stress, physical exertion, these can all cause the penis to temporarily retract or appear smaller when flaccid. That's your body's natural response to environmental cues. It has nothing to do with function or long-term anatomy. Now, you might be wondering, has anyone actually studied this? Or is it just anecdotal locker room talk? Well, I'm happy to report that yes, there is scientific research on this topic. It's limited, but it exists, and it gives us some interesting insights. One study looked at 274 men who were experiencing erectile dysfunction. These men were given what's called an intracavernosal injection, a medical injection that induces an erection. This allowed researchers to measure penile length both in the flaccid state and in the fully erect state under controlled conditions. They measured the difference in length between the two states and used that to categorize men as growers or showers. The median change in length was about 4 centimeters, or roughly 1.5 inches. They used that as a cutoff point. If your penis increased by more than 4 centimeters, you were considered a grower. If it increased by less, you were a shower. So, what did they find? About 26%, just over a quarter, of the men in the study were classified as growers. Their average increase in length was around 5.3 centimeters. The rest, about 74%, were showers, with an average increase of about 3.1 centimeters. Now, before you start measuring yourself at home, let me add some context. This study only included men with erectile dysfunction. That's an important limitation. it may not fully represent the general population of men who don't have those issues. So while the findings are interesting, they're not universal. The researchers also looked for predictors, things that might indicate whether someone would be a grower or a shower, and they found very little. The one factor that did show a correlation: age. Younger men were more likely to be growers and tended to have a longer erect length overall compared to showers. Again, this ties back to tissue elasticity and the natural changes that happen as we age. But beyond that, no strong predictors, not body type, not race, not overall health status in this particular study. It's simply a matter of individual variation. Now let's talk about what this doesn't mean. Being a grower or a shower has no impact on the firmness of your erection, your sexual performance, your ability to experience pleasure, your fertility, your partner's satisfaction. None of it, zero correlation. This is purely about appearance in the flaccid state. And while that might matter to you personally because we all have feelings about our bodies, it has no bearing on function or intimacy. I want to pause here and acknowledge something. A lot of men carry quiet anxiety about how they measure up, and I mean that literally and figuratively. We live in a world where comparison is constant, where locker rooms and media and even pornography create these narrow, unrealistic benchmarks. But the reality, there is no better category. A grower isn't more masculine. A shower isn't more impressive. These are just neutral variations in human anatomy. If you've ever felt self-conscious in a locker room or worried about what a partner might think the first time they see you, I want you to know you are not alone in that feeling. And also, you are absolutely fine just as you are. So, is there anything you should do about being a grower or a shower? Honestly, no. Not unless you're experiencing actual functional issues like difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection, pain, or changes that concern you. But let's talk about what can support overall penile health, regardless of whether you're a grower, a shower, or somewhere in between. First, maintain a healthy lifestyle. This is the foundation of everything. Your cardiovascular health directly impacts your sexual health. Blood flow is essential for erections, and anything that damages your blood vessels, smoking, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, can affect erectile function. So eat a balanced diet, exercise regularly, manage stress, get enough sleep. These aren't just generic health tips, they directly support the tissues, nerves, and blood vessels that make sexual function possible. Second, manage your weight. As I mentioned earlier, excess weight around the midsection can affect visibility and perception. But more importantly, obesity is linked to hormonal imbalances, reduced testosterone, and increased risk of erectile dysfunction. Losing even a modest amount of weight can improve blood flow, boost confidence, and support better sexual health overall. Third, quit smoking. I can't stress this enough. Smoking damages blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the penis. Over time, this can lead to erectile dysfunction and decreased tissue elasticity. If you smoke and you care about your sexual health, quitting is one of the best things you can do. Fourth, stay connected to your body. Pay attention to changes. If you notice sudden differences in erectile function, pain, curvature, or anything that feels off, don't ignore it. These can be early signs of underlying health issues, and catching them early makes a huge difference. Your penis is, in many ways, a barometer of your overall health. Erectile function relies on healthy blood vessels, balanced hormones, and a well-functioning nervous system. So if something changes, it's worth checking in with a doctor. Now, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction or concerns about size, length, or function, please see a urologist. We're here to help, and there are safe, evidence-based treatments available. What I do not recommend: DIY solutions, unproven supplements, or devices that promise overnight results. These can cause harm, sometimes irreversible harm, and they rarely deliver what they claim. If you're struggling with body image or anxiety around your anatomy, consider speaking with a therapist who specializes in sexual health. Sometimes the issue isn't physical, it's about how we've been taught to see ourselves. And that's something that deserves care and attention too. So here's what I want you to take away from today. Whether you're a grower or a shower, you are perfectly, completely normal. This is not a measure of your worth, your masculinity, or your ability to connect with a partner. It's just a quirk of anatomy, one of the many ways that human bodies naturally vary. If you've ever felt uncertain or self-conscious about this, I hope today brought you some clarity. And if you've been curious but didn't know where to find honest, science-based answers, well, now you do. Your body is worthy of respect and care, exactly as it is. And if you ever have questions, concerns, or just need someone to explain things in a way that makes sense, we're here. Take care of your health. Take care of your heart. And always remember, you are enough just as you are. Stay healthy, stay curious, and always remember to take care of yourself, because you're worth it.